Okay, so we're going to be looking at the orthographic projection practice. Now, the orthographic projection practice is going to be our assignment 2A. Okay, so after going through our first session and going through chapter 3 and chapter 6, sketching and orthographic projection practice, you'll be able to do this this handout. So I've already printed the handout here for us. So I'm going to go underneath our camera. And I forget exactly how many pages it is, but I think it's like 6 or 7 or 8 pages or so. Not all of it has work to do on it. Don't worry. Okay. But we're going to go through and kind of hit the highlights and make sure you know how to proceed and what's expected. So first of all, obtain a copy of this handout. So most of you have, otherwise print it out as needed. If you don't have a printer and you're virtual, for instance, you can always, once we get to the different places here where you need to fill in information, you'll be able to kind of identify it and then number for me, okay? So if that ever happens to you, if you're not here on campus and you don't get a copy, just make sure it's easy for me to follow and I know what you're answering and doing, okay? When you hand this in, what you're going to be doing is you are going to be uploading it to the assignment. And so it says here, take a clear picture of each page after you have all the blanks filled in and completed. And that's going to be what you're going to upload. So whether you use like a scanner device or a scanner app from your phone, or if you use a regular scanner, or you just simply take the pictures, you can do that, but you have to be directly above, kind of like a copier. You guys ever hand in like that? Okay. And make sure that your files are clear. If you go back and I pull them up and they're blurry because maybe you moved or the lighting wasn't good, I can't give you points, okay? And then you're going to be kind of burning a submission. So always check your files before you hand them in, okay? Just to be sure, because if I can't read it, I can't give you credit. And then you're going to upload it, and it's not 40 points. It's actually 71 points. I had it 40 to begin with, but I thought, you know what? It's kind of hard for me to grade that way. So I gave it 71, kind of 1 point for everything that you're going to be handing in. Okay. The other thing that I appreciate is if you upload in order. Okay. If you take it apart and you put it in all different, you know, if the first page is the last page and stuff like that, believe it or not, from my perspective, it's a kind of a pain in the butt to go through. So if you can put them in order, I would really appreciate it. Now, the first couple of pages here are more reference than anything else. So the first one here is kind of looking at a 3D representation of a simple part, and then you can kind of see the top, front, and right side views in orthographic projection. Okay, just a nice example. Same thing down here. Okay, just another example of. This is also a review of the different types of line types that are found in mechanical drawings. Okay. So that's for your reference. And then when we turn the page one more time, so I think this would be like the 4th page-ish. This is going to be our first page where there's points or something you need to hand in to earn points. So in this case, they are using the drawing that we see here. Okay. They're identifying the line of sight for the front view, the top, the right side, the left side, the bottom, and the rear. Okay. And then what they've done is they've drawn in orthographic projection, kind of unfolding that glass box around that part to show front view in projection with the top, in projection with the bottom, in projection with the right, left, and rear. Okay. Do you kind of see how that's developed there? Okay. Now, what they want you to do is those 3 dimensions, those 3 overall dimensions, height, width, and depth, okay? As I said earlier, we can find them in 2 views. Each one of these views, 2 of those are going to be identified. Not all 3, but 2. So what they want you to do is they want you to, at the bottom here, identify in the front view which overall dimensions you see, height, width, and depth. So if we go up here to the front view, which is in the middle here, you can see that they identify the height, right? The height is going to be there. So we would circle H, okay, as one of them. And then as we look here in the front view, I don't see the width dimension in the front view, but do you notice how width is dimensioned at the top of the top view? And we know that's in projection, so we would get the width dimension also in the front view. Okay. So then you're going to go to the top view, the right side view. And each one of these, you're going to pick 2 of the 3 that are listed there. Okay. And referencing back up on the top here. Do you want to do another one together, or do you feel confident? Good. Okay. So you've got a total of 6 points on that page. All right. The next page, this one's fun. Okay. You're going to label the width, depth, and height in each one of the views. Okay. Now, if we look back to the previous page, the front is always going to be kind of our base. Okay. The front is always going to have the height and always going to have the width. Okay. So if we look here, of these 3 views, this middle one is going to be your front view. And all you want to do is you are going to identify the height dimension, okay, H, okay. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can see. So I'm just putting a little extension line, little arrow, and I'm putting an H in the middle, okay. Do not draw on the part. I'm going to tell you why. That is illegal to the standard, okay. When you create dimensions and parts that are drawings that have dimensions on them, you will never, these are nails on the chalkboard, you will never put dimensions on a part. So don't do any of this work. Do not put in, like, go like this and put an H in there. It's like minus 47 out of 71, just so you know. Okay. And then we also have little extension lines here. I'm going to put my little arrows, and in between, I'm going to put D for depth. I'm sorry, no, W for width. I was thinking of my next view, W for width. Okay. Right side view. Right side view, I get height, don't I? H, because it's in line with the front view. What about this dimension here? This is my depth, right? Okay. And then if I go to the top, remember we're sketching, so it's going to be, you know, relatively neat. The width is going to be the horizontal dimension across the top. And then as we look here, this dimension going back is our depth, right? Now, something I do not want to see. Notice I put arrowheads on each one of my dimension lines. I do not want to see like this, W, and lines like that. That is illegal. Every dimension needs dimension lines. Every dimension line has an arrow. Okay. So this is going to be arrows. Okay. I don't want somebody to put on the side over here, H. No. Well, where does the H go to? Okay. Extension lines, dimension lines with arrows. Make sense? Okay. You don't have to use a straight edge on this. Again, you can kind of see I was kind of putting them in, but as long as I can see them. So you are going to go through, you have 6 of these to do. Okay. Overall height, width, and depth on each one of them. And that's 12 points total on that page. Turning the page. I'll let you finish that later. So good. It's one of my favorites. Second favorite. And next, my favorite's coming. This one, you want to sketch each view of the parts below. There are 3 parts. You're going to get 3 points each. Okay. You're going to have a front view, and they're showing you the line of sight. This is going to be your front view line of sight. Okay. For each one of these. So that means this view right here in the middle is going to be what you see straight on front view. Okay. Then you're going to do a top view and a right side view. This is where I'm going to strongly encourage you to use a straight edge. Okay. So for instance, as I look here, if I look straight on, I'm going to have about here, about here. Okay. That's going to be my front view. And I want to darken those in so I can depict that these are my visible lines. So you're going to go all the way around, and you're going to make sure that I can see that these are visible, lines for the outside. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Then what you're going to do, that's my front view. So now over on the right side, I've got to draw what that would look like. So that would be looking in this direction. And then it would be visible lines. I would darken these in all the way around. So you don't have to have a protractor. You don't have to have a ruler, just a straight edge. You could even use the edge of your notebook, for the straight edge. Does that make sense? And I can grab some extras if anybody needs them. Then we're going to do our top view. We have to make sure that this is in line across the top view. Okay. And then this is going to be what that looks like. Now they already, dimensioned for us our W, our H's, and our D's. You don't have to do that. You're just going to fill in the insides of each one of those views. That makes sense? I have a couple straight edges here. You can borrow mine. I'm going to go back and I'll get some more straight edges as well for anybody in the class that wants to use them. But again, you could fold over paper and this can be a straight edge. Okay. You don't have to get anything super formal. So you're going to finish up, you're going to do the 3 views for the middle steps and then the 3 views for part C. Okay. So I'll have you finish that up during our lab time. Turning the page. This one's my favorite page. Okay. What you have is on the top, you have pictorials. On the bottom, you have 3 views. You need to match up the pictorial to the view down at the bottom. Now, what I want you to do is you're going to, for instance, let's look at A, okay? Let's look at A. So A has this portion here and this back upright is shorter than the width, okay, of that bottom C. What you want to find is the 3 views that match up with that, okay? So take a peek, see if you can find the 3 views that match up with A, okay, what that pictorial looks like. So A looks like that. Has anybody found it yet? Does anybody see it? Deborah, do you see it? 10. Anybody else? I'm seeing, yep, 10. Okay, so what I want you to do here down at down at 10, you're going to put your letter with a circle around it. So I'll look at this part to make sure that it's the right ones. So number 10 is A. Okay. And you're going to do that very same thing through M. Okay, find the corresponding 3 views. Okay, that one's kind of fun. I think that one's really fun because sometimes you get to the end, you're like, oh, I must have got a wrong one, and that's okay. It's kind of fun, a fun little challenge. Now, the last exercise, I'm going to pull my paper apart here. You don't have to if you don't want to. These 2 pages go together. So the left side is a pictorial. And it's 3 views, front, top, right side views. And then you're going to notice that on each one of those views, we've got some dimensions, but we also have letters and numbers that are balloons that are pointing to different things. Okay. Those are going to correspond to the different items that they're asking for here. Okay. Not all of them, but some of them. So first of all, and then additionally, this is the title block on that last page for the previous drawing. Okay, I don't know, they probably should have put it over here, but the title block for it is down here at the bottom of this page. Now, the title block is going to, have information about the part. And those are the first questions that you see here. So what is the object? So we look to the title block. It's a feed hopper, right? Okay, so that's going to be your answer here. Feed hopper. Now, when you do this, I'm not being very neat because I'm sitting here like this. You need to write so that I can legibly see what you're writing. If you have to come up here and tell me, well, that's an S, not a 5, I can't give you points. Okay, so take your time. If you know that you're not a really good penmanship person, you're just gonna have to take your time or write them out in Word, number them 1 through 26, and then hand that in. Does that make sense, everybody? Okay. The next one is, what is the drawing number? Drawing number is A-11. Okay. So you're going to notice that those first couple questions, 1 through 4, are going to really pertain to that title block. So I'll let you fill that in. Now, the next 3 are, what is the overall width? What's the overall height? What's the overall depth? And you're going to go back to the drawings over here, and you got a lot of practice on the previous pages. Where do you find your height? Where do you find your depth? Where do you find your width? And now you're going to locate it here. Does that make sense to everybody? You're going to put those numbers into 5, 6, and 7. Okay. Then the rest of the questions deal with calculate distances, for instance, A through G for number 8. Okay. So number 8, A through G. So this is all number 8. Okay. So that means we're going to find A on the drawing. Okay. So let's go over here and we're going to find where A is. A is in the right side view, and it's this dimension right here between the 2 uprights, the difference between that cutout there. Okay. So you know that the overall width, actually depth, is 2 inches. You're going to subtract off 0.44. And again, subtract 0.44, and A is left over. Okay. So you're going to put that number right here for 8A. Does that make sense? Okay. Then you're going to find dimension B. Okay. Dimension B, where that one is, here's C. B is right here. B is right here. Okay. So you're going to have to look maybe on different views. You're going to look up here. You know that this is overall 3. Okay. You know that 1.4 goes to this line. And you know that 0.8 from the top view goes to this. So it would be 3 minus 1.4 minus 0.88. That's going to equal B. You see how that's in line here? Yeah. So that's going to be the number that you put for B. And then you're going to find C, D, E, F, and G. Okay. And then you're going to continue and answer the questions that you see there. They're all a little bit different. Okay. So for your homework, then, if I can have everybody's attention, let's look at the assignment and what you're going to be handing in. So you're going to upload the pages when they are complete. And again, a couple different ways you can do that. Number 1, you can scan it on a regular scanner. I don't know if many people have a scanner anymore. It could be part of your printer, but you could do it that way. The second way, and I find that most students do it, is on their phone. You either take a picture, because you can upload JPEGs. Okay. Just be careful with lighting. If it's too dark and grainy and I can't read it, I can't give you points for it. Okay. So just make sure that if you take the picture, or depending on where you're at in the program sequence, I think in the math classes, they require you guys to get a scanner app on your phone to upload things that you hand in. I have an app that I find works really well. And I don't know if it's called Tiny Scanner. Okay. Tiny Scanner. There's a lot of them. This one's free. Okay. And I wouldn't buy anything, but mine is free and I can just X out. And all you have to do is take, say plus, you go directly above whatever you want to do. I just am taking a random photo, and then you can crop out the parts that you want. Okay. You can say done, and then it's going to convert and it's going to show you a preview of what that's going to look like as a PDF. Okay. And if it looks okay, I would probably do some adjustments here. If it looks okay, you're going to save it. And then you're simply going to, because you have it, you can now, and if you have the Canvas app on your phone, you'll be able to upload that PDF to the Canvas assignment. Does that make sense? Or, like I said, you can take actual pictures as long as your lighting is good, and you can upload the JPEGs as well. Okay? So a couple different ways to do that. If you have any questions when you get it complete and you need some suggestions on how to do that, I'm happy to help you. Okay? So questions right now about assignment 2A. Yes.
Questions for the last.
Mm-hmm.
Which line does when represent or whatever?
Yep.
Are you looking for like the name of the line itself or the...
So you said it says, for instance, like number 9, which line in the top view represents surface P? Okay. So if we go, it says which line in the top view represents surface P. We have to first find surface P. Okay. So surface P is this surface right here. Okay. This line that we see here. So if this is a surface here, so here's P, it's pointing to it. We go up into the top view. This is the line representing it. Is there something that's calling out that line? Number 7, right? Yep. So you would put number 7 for number 9. Okay. Here's what I'm just kind of looking at. Number 15, it says, what kind or type of line is line M? So we want to find where M is. M is right here in the front view, and it's pointing at a dashed line. What type of a line is that? Hidden line. Yeah. So then you're going to call that a hidden. You're going to say for number 15, that's a hidden line. Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you for asking that. And if anything comes up along the way as you're working, that's what I'm here for. If you need clarification or anything like that. So I'm going to let you then work the rest of the time that we're together, actually, and it would be a good time to get going on this. And if you need to finish anything up from module 1, it's a good time to do that as well.